In episode 6, the sinkholes have made the news. It's a huge deal around the city, so much so that the mayor is thinking about evacuating the entire block. But he hasn't done it yet, and Leanne decides she's going to throw Jericho a birthday party. The problem is, it's not his birthday, so it's a 1.5-year-old's birthday party. It's a party that Dorothy has no interest in whatsoever. She doesn't even want to go, but Leanne tells her, well, you wouldn't want people to think you're an uninvolved mother, would you? Just like everything with this family, it's a point of contention. Leanne has prepared all of it, inviting the guests, and even having a petting zoo. That's still not enough to get a decent crowd, though. Leanne invited people way too late. And as this pitiful party rages on outside, inside, both Dorothy and Sean are wondering if the cult just gives up trying to get her after the events of the other night. Dorothy says aloud, there's got to be some way to end this. And Sean looks outside and says, yeah, Julian. Maybe there's a way we can still get through to him. The Turners then reluctantly do head outside, just in enough time to hear Leanne give a super weird speech thanking people for coming. Leanne notices, though, that people don't have the hats that she ordered on their heads. She commands Julian to go inside, and that's when Sean takes his opportunity to try to get through to Julian, although it's not working. Julian still thinks that Sean is overreacting to all of it, that there's nothing wrong whatsoever with Leanne, and he's completely oblivious to the fact that he is whipped. Sean continues, though. It gets really heated, and it only ends when Leanne calls for Julian, and he jumps to it. Even though Leanne's intentions for this party were good, it ends up being a little bit of a disaster. The petting zoo that she ordered, well, the pets aren't well behaved. A goat starts ripping up Leanne's dress. It makes Leanne have to go inside and change, and when she does, she hears the faint crying of a baby. She follows it up to her bathroom, and sure enough, there's a baby she doesn't recognize in her tub. She's kind of confused, but then somebody is hiding behind the door and attacks her. It's somebody from the church. This person has help, though. They have help from the neighbors across the street. They're back. All three of these people work in tandem to try to get Leanne down, throw the oil in her eyes, and go through the ceremony. Leanne, though, using some ingenuity, is able to attack all of them, stabbing the one girl in the thigh and knocking the other two out. She makes a call to one of her minions, telling them that there are 3 of them in the upstairs room, and then she heads back downstairs as if nothing happened. While she was away, though, Dorothy made an attempt to convince Julian that he needs to think about this relationship. When she says to Julian, you're clearly picking sides, he says, I'm not. I just feel bad for her. Her mom was not nice to her, dragging her to all these pageants. And Dorothy remembers that on her first year on the job, she covered pageants. She saw firsthand how mean these mothers were. Once Julian is able to get away from Dorothy in the conversation, he gets instructed by Leanne to go in the house and get the cake. The problem is he can't find the candles anywhere. As he, Leanne, and even Sean start looking around the house for the candles, they hear a goat banging on the glass. It's really bizarre behavior. The goat continues to bang and bang until finally he bangs his way through the door, breaking the glass. When he does, it causes Julian to actually drop the cake. Leanne instructs Julian to clean up the cake and walks outside as if that is a normal occurrence. It gives Sean another opportunity to pitch Julian on the fact that she is weird, something's going on. Julian, though, is still in denial. He walks outside, they start to sing happy birthday, and that's when all hell breaks loose. The Dorothy that was hired to be Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz, she's been drinking the whole time. She knocks in the table of food, which causes Julian to fall backwards and the cake falls on top of him. This fake Dorothy then pukes on a guy, Exorcist style. He knocks into the petting zoo, where a couple of snakes get loose. Leanne ends up getting bit by this fake Dorothy's dog, fake Toto. It's a pretty bad bite, and Beverly notices it, and she says, we got to clean that up. I have some hydrogen peroxide in my apartment. Come on, come downstairs. Leanne reluctantly heads downstairs with Beverly, but the whole time, she's looking at the disaster that this party has caused. As she's sitting in the chair in Beverly's apartment, thinking about what went wrong, she feels a pinch, and it's Beverly injecting her with something. It's definitely not hydrogen peroxide. Leanne stands up because now she knows that Beverly is with the church, but whatever Beverly injected her with knocks her out. As Beverly prepares for the ceremony downstairs, upstairs, the conversation between Sean and Julian continues, and it gets really, really heated. Blame gets thrown around regarding Jericho's initial death, and it causes the two to actually come to a physical confrontation. It only stops when the two start smelling smoke, and they realize it's not coming from their part of the house, it must be coming from downstairs. That's because Beverly had lit a fire to heat up the dagger. Julian knows that he has to go save Leanne, and while he heads downstairs, Sean is yelling at him to let it happen. But Leanne never needed Julian's help. She woke up and saw Beverly dancing, whipping herself, but when Beverly went to the drawer to grab the dagger, Leanne just started staring at her. It caused Beverly to freeze right in her tracks. So when Julian gets downstairs, he's shocked because there's Beverly frozen still, but her hand is huge. I mean, it looks like Andre the Giant's hand. And then the rest of her body starts to swell. Leanne is fixated on her the entire time. Finally, Beverly drops to the ground and is frothing at the mouth. She's not doing well. And when Sean makes his way downstairs, he's really surprised to see her in this kind of state. While Sean is concerned for Beverly, and so is Julian to an extent, Leanne isn't. She's actually laughing at it. Sean calls an ambulance for Bobby, and a little while later, the ambulance takes her away. Roberta claims her innocence, telling Dorothy that she had no idea. She knew Beverly for years, but she didn't know this side of her. She ends up resigning over it. All of this, though, has finally woken Julian up. He realizes now that Sean was right. The two apologize to each other, but now they have a bigger issue. What to do about Leanne. After everybody goes to bed that night, Dorothy starts thinking about what Julian said about the pageants. There was also something that Bobby said about Leanne's infatuation with Dorothy. So Dorothy decided to go looking through her old tapes, and she finds one from covering a pageant. And she's shocked because when she pops it in, sure enough, there's a 9-year-old Leanne Grayson interviewed by a young Dorothy Turner. Thank you so much for checking out this recap. Please consider subscribing to the channel and subscribing to my Patreon. Hit thumbs up if you liked it. Smash that thumbs down button if you thought it sucked. If you left a comment, I don't get back to you. I usually don't check the comments unless they're like a super comment. Also, if you don't see the next video up on the end screen, not to worry, it'll be up in a day or two.